Was one. All right, joining me now with reaction to this and much more, we are going to be joined by Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. Senator Rand Paul, welcome to the program.
Good evening. Good to be with you, Sean.
What do you make of that? What do you make of that timeline, Senator?
Well, you know, I guess I'm disturbed. It's appalling. But in some ways, I'm not surprised. You realize that the union, the Treasury Union, the IRS Union, they give 95% of their money to Democrats. I wonder how we can have officials that are giving all their monies to Democrats and we think somehow they're going to be objective. But no, it's appalling that we're still paying her pension and she's refusing to cooperate with the government in investigation. It's alarming and appalling.
All right, so she knew early on that, in fact, they were involved in this. So there's no mystery here. She invokes the Fifth, but I think the damning part of this is what they knew in June of 2011, June 29th. And that is that they literally had specific targeting instructions. A briefing said Determinations Unit looked at this criteria: Tea Party groups, 9/12 Project, groups that talked about government spending, debt, taxes, or making America a better place to live.
Yeah. And the other thing that this brings up is, while you do have a right not to incriminate yourself in a court of law, do you have the right as a government employee to continue to be paid and not cooperate? I would think that we need to change the rules of how we employ people. And we're not going to ask you to incriminate yourself for a criminal investigation, but if you're not going to cooperate, you should have to give up your pay and your pension.
All right, let's talk about what happens from here. Explain the contempt vote from your perspective.
Well, you know, contempt is something you can go to jail for, and it doesn't happen very often. In fact, I'm not sure if we've ever had someone go to prison for a contempt order, but it is something that has a significant penalty. So she will have to decide, is she going to risk going to jail or testify in a truthful manner? And but I really think that one of the reasons to pursue this is a contempt violation, and a conviction would then, I think, abrogate her pension. And I don't believe that we should continue to pay her in retirement if she's not going to cooperate.
There seems to be a pattern of lying, though, Senator, that is deeply disturbing. It runs deep into the administration. Remember, initially they blamed rogue agents in Cincinnati who turned out and testified that, in fact, they were taking instructions from Washington. Then you add to that, we haven't gotten the answers on Fast and Furious. Then you add to that the Benghazi lies about a YouTube video and about a spontaneous demonstration. Then you add to that the conscious lies about Obamacare. What are we to make of all of this? It seems like a concerted effort to mislead the American people.
You know, I think they say absolute power corrupts absolutely. We've let too much power gravitate to the presidency, no matter which party. We've just let too much power gravitate to one person who's in charge of $1 trillion apparatus or bureaucracy. And I think what disturbs people most about the IRS scandal is that nobody wants to think that if you lose an election, if one party wins or the other, that the party that wins will use the bully nature of government to beat up on their political opponents. Because I don't care whether it's Republicans or Democrats who win, nobody should be allowed to use that power of government to beat up on their political opponents. It stifles dissent. It stifles the First Amendment, freedom of speech and expression. It's very dangerous.
This is the stuff of a third world dictatorship to me, or the former Soviet Union. It's that bad and that corrupt because you're trying to stifle and silence opposition voices and intimidate them at the very least. All right, last question. You, in response to Fort Hood, are planning to advocate what?
I think that you should be allowed to have weapons on military bases. I'm for allowing those who have concealed carry, at the very least, have their weapons on base. But also, I'm concerned about what is the most cost-effective way of preventing another 9/11. I want all pilots to be armed. The president has zeroed this out of his budget. He's advocated for getting rid of the program. And when I talk to pilots, I'm in airports all the time. Pilots come up to me all the time and say, it's too hard to get a permit and to keep up the permit. Yeah. You have to do 5 days in New Mexico. So I have a bill to streamline this, and the goal of my bill is to have 100% of American pilots armed, because I think it's a very cost-effective, it's the most cost-effective way of deterring another attack on our planes.
Well, write me down as an ardent supporter. Senator, good to see you. As always, thanks for being with us.